in the heart of a vast emerald jungle. Where sunlight dripped like liquid gold through the thick canopy, the world was alive. Here, a sleek orange cat named Blaze moved with the silent grace of a king surveying his domain. Every step was deliberate, his muscles rippling under his fiery coat. Who's the ruler of this green world? Or so he believed, and everything in his path belonged to him. As he prowled, his ears twitched, catching the faintest rustle in a nearby patch of tangled vines. Something small, something fast, was near. From the deep shadows, a tiny gray mouse named Pip suddenly darted into a sunbeam. He was no ordinary mouse. Pip was a bundle of clever energy, quick-witted and utterly fearless. In his grasp he clutched a prize, a shiny red berry nearly twice his own size. To him, this sprawling jungle wasn't a place of danger, but a magnificent playground. Blaze's eyes narrowed, a low growl rumbling in his chest. An easy hunt! He coiled his powerful legs and launched himself forward, a streak of orange lightning. But Pip was already gone. With a flick of his tail, the little mouse scampered under a gnarled web of roots, vanishing completely. Blaze, committed to his leap, couldn't stop. He crashed headfirst into a sturdy tree trunk with a comical thud, tumbling clumsily across a patch of soft moss. Undignified landing sent a startled cloud of blue butterflies fluttering into the air. From behind a delicate fern, Pip peeked out, a tiny, triumphant snicker escaping him. He let out a quick squeak of defiance and dashed across the jungle floor, the shiny berry still held tight. The great chase had begun. Blaze shook his head, his pride stinging more than his bumped nose. Took off after the mouse, his powerful strides eating up the ground. But Pip was a master of his environment. He weaved through towering blades of grass that felt like a forest to him, hopped effortlessly over gnarled roots that tripped the much larger cat, and zigzagged around puddles of rainwater collected in hollow logs. Blaze's tail twitched with growing frustration. Every lunge he made, Pip would counter with a clever dodge, making the mighty hunter look like a clumsy kitten. The jungle seemed to conspire with the mouse, every leaf and vine providing a perfect escape route. The chase led them deeper into the jungle, towards a clearing where a magnificent waterfall cascaded down a wall of rock into a crystal-clear pool. Pip, seeing his chance for a truly grand escape, scampered up a long, drooping vine that swayed gently over the water. Blaze, blinded by his determination, followed without a second thought. He clawed his way up the vine, his eyes locked on the tiny mouse just ahead. Pip reached a thick, leafy branch overhanging the pool and leaped onto it with ease. He turned, the berry still in his mouth, and gave Blaze a cheeky wink. Blaze, however, was not as light or as nimble. As he reached for the same branch, the vine he was clinging to swung wildly. He lost his grip, his claws scrabbling for a hold that wasn't there. For a moment, he hung suspended in midair, his eyes wide with surprise. Then, with a loud and very unkingly yowl, he plummeted downwards, landing with an enormous splash right in the middle of the cool, clear pool. Water erupted in all directions, drenching the nearby flowers and sending ripples across the surface. Pip watched from his safe perch, giggling so hard he almost dropped his precious berry. Blaze emerged from the water, sputtering and soaked. His sleek, fiery fur was now plastered to his body, and a lily pad was perched comically on his head like a silly green hat. He looked less like a fearsome hunter and more like a soggy, defeated grump. He glared up at Pip, but there was no real anger in his eyes, only bewildered surprise. How could such a tiny creature have outsmarted him so completely? Feeling a little bit sorry for the drenched cat, Pip decided to share his prize. He carefully nibbled the giant berry in half. Then, taking aim, he dropped one perfect, juicy half down below. It landed with a soft plop on a flat rock right in front of Blaze. The cat stared at the offering, then back up at the mouse. He blinked, confused. This wasn't how predator and prey were supposed to behave. Slowly, cautiously, he padded over to the rock and sniffed the piece of berry. It smelled sweet. He took a hesitant lick, then another. It was delicious. Up on the branch, Pip happily munched on his half of the berry. From that day on, an unusual friendship blossomed in the heart of the jungle. Blaze learned that ruling wasn't about being the strongest or the fierce. Pip learned that even the biggest challenges could be overcome with a bit of cleverness and a dash of courage. The jungle was no longer a kingdom for one, but a shared playground for two unlikely friends. They still had their chasers, of course, but now they were filled with laughter and fun. Games between equals. Blaze would pounce and Pip would dodge. And the jungle would echo with the sounds of their playful antics. A testament to a friendship that began with a splash and a shared berry. And so, under the golden sun, the sleek orange cat and the tiny gray mouse proved that sometimes the best adventures are the ones you share with a friend you never expected to have. The jungle was still full of wonders, but the greatest wonder of all was their bond. Every day brought a new game, a new discovery, and a new reason to be grateful for their unlikely companionship. Blaze still looked like a king, but now he ruled with a gentle heart. And Pip, the brave little mouse, was no longer just clever. He was a friend to a king. Together, they explored their world side by side, their story becoming a beloved legend whispered on the jungle breeze. Thanks for watching our story today. If you enjoyed the adventures of Blaze and Pip, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales from the wild. We'll see you next time. The jungle held its breath, waiting. But Pip was anything but a nuisance. He was a master of his own art, the art of the getaway. From his perch on a thick, winding vine, he watched Blaze's slow, deliberate approach with amusement. Pip wasn't just reacting, he was orchestrating this whole ballet. As Blaze prepared to spring, Pip was already 2 steps ahead, a tiny, furry blur of action. With a flick of his tail, he darted between a curtain of hanging vines, their leaves rustling like a whispered taunt. He saw a fallen log ahead, a minor obstacle for some, but a grand stage for him. He didn't just jump over it. He performed a graceful arc, a mid-air twist that seemed to defy gravity itself, landing silently on the other side. Blaze, seeing his chance, followed with a powerful leap, convinced he had him cornered. But where he expected solid ground, he found only a squishy, muddy puddle hidden beneath a carpet of leaves. The landing was less than graceful. A loud splat echoed through the clearing as Blaze hit the puddle. His feet went out from under him, and he began a comical, uncontrolled slide, arms flailing wildly as he tried to regain his balance. He skidded across the mud, leaving a wide, messy trail behind him, finally coming to a stop with a soft thud against a moss-covered rock. He was soaked, covered head to toe in brown muck, and utterly embarrassed. High above, perched safely on a sturdy branch, Pip paused his escape. He looked down at the chaotic scene, his tiny chest puffed out with pride. A series of triumphant squeaks, like tiny bursts of laughter, filled the air. He was the king of this jungle, and Blaze, the flailing jester in the court of mud below, had just proven it. The chase was no longer just a chase. It was a performance, and Pip was the star, too. It was as if the jungle itself had decided to join in on the fun, becoming an active participant in this comedic spectacle. From the high canopies, a troop of monkeys, who had been watching the entire affair with great interest, began to chatter and hoot, their calls sounding suspiciously like laughter echoing through the trees. They pointed and shook the branches, causing a fresh shower of leaves to rain down on the already defeated Blaze. As if on cue, the whole jungle seemed to shake with mirth. The leaves on the bushes trembled, not from the wind, but from shared amusement. Then, to add the perfect touch of slapstick to the situation, a small, green frog, startled by all the commotion, made a desperate leap for safety. Its chosen landing spot, right squarely on the middle of Blaze's back. Blaze let out a yelp of surprise, the sudden, cold, clammy feeling sending a fresh jolt of panic through him. This unexpected amphibian passenger was the final straw. Blaze flailed even more wildly, trying to shake the frog off, which only made him slip and slide further into the mud. The frog, for its part, clung on for dear life, its bulging eyes wide with alarm. The scene was pure, unadulterated chaos. Pip, watching from his branch, nearly fell off from the force of his own silent laughter. He used this moment of distraction to continue his masterclass in evasion. Every part of the jungle was his ally. A gnarled tree root became a perfect ramp to launch himself onto a higher level. A thick, dangling vine was not an obstacle, but a natural swing, allowing him to soar over a wide gap with the grace of an acrobat. He even found a large waxy leaf, slick with morning dew, and used it as a tiny jungle sled, sliding down a steep, mossy incline with a joyful squeak. He was a whirlwind of clever moves, a tiny genius of escape. Blaze, finally managing to dislodge the bewildered frog, scrambled to his feet. He was dripping, dirty, and his dignity was in tatters. But he was not a quitter. He shook the mud from his fur, his eyes locked on the tiny figure of Pip, who was now zipping through the undergrowth. With a roar of frustration, Blaze renewed his pursuit, his earlier strategy replaced by pure brute force. He crashed through bushes, snapped twigs under his heavy paws, and bounded over obstacles with more power than grace. But for every one of Blaze's powerful moves, Pip had a dozen clever counters. When Blaze tried to corner him against a giant buttress root, Pip simply scurried up the side of it, using the rough bark as a ladder. When Blaze lunged through a thicket of ferns, he emerged on the other side to find Pip perched on the very branch he had just passed under, wiggling his tail cheekily. The chase continued, a blur of fur and foliage. Blaze was relentless, but Pip was resourceful. He led Blaze on a dizzying path, zigzagging through ancient trees, ducking under low-hanging branches, and even running straight up the trunk of a palm tree, only to leap off and glide to another, using a broadleaf as a makeshift parachute. Blaze, trying to follow, got his head momentarily stuck in a tangle of vines, giving Pip even more time to widen the gap. The jungle was Pip's playground, and he knew every secret slide, every hidden tunnel, every springy branch. He was a master of misdirection, often pretending to go one way only to double back and watch from a hidden spot as Blaze thundered past. For every ounce of Blaze's strength, Pip had a pound of cleverness. The sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the forest floor. Eventually, exhausted and outsmarted, Blaze slumped to the ground. He was utterly defeated. He lay there, panting, mud drying on his fur, leaves stuck in his ears. He had given it his all, but it wasn't enough. Pip, seeing that the game was over, slowly made his way down from a high branch. He approached the defeated hunter cautiously. He didn't gloat or squeak triumphantly this time. Instead, he stopped a few feet away, tilted his head, and let out a soft, inquisitive chirp. It was a sound that held no mockery, only curiosity. Blaze looked up, his eyes meeting Pip's. In that moment, something shifted. "Sir." The frustration and anger drained away, replaced by a grudging respect. This tiny creature was not just prey. He was an artist, a brilliant strategist. A slow smile spread across Blaze's muddy face. He let out a low, rumbling chuckle. He had been completely and utterly outplayed, and somehow, it was the most fun he'd had in ages. The jungle grew quiet again, but this time, the silence was different. It wasn't the silence of a hunt, but the peaceful quiet that follows a good, hearty laugh. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures. The jungle. At night is a world transformed. When the sun dips below the horizon and the moon casts its silvery glow, everything changes. The familiar greens and browns of the day melt into a deep, mysterious tapestry of shadows and silhouettes. It's a place of secrets, where every rustle of a leaf and every snap of a twig tells a story. And tonight, the story is about a game, a chase between two unlikely friends, Blaze and Pip. The darkness settles. The air grows thick with the sounds of the nocturnal world. Crickets begin their symphony, a steady, rhythmic pulse that is the heartbeat of the jungle. Frogs add their deep, booming calls from the water's edge, a chorus that echoes through the trees. In the distance, the haunting hoot of an owl drifts on the breeze. This is the stage for our adventure. The jungle isn't just a backdrop. It's alive, a silent observer to the unfolding drama. In his shadowy playground, two figures are about to begin their nightly ritual. Blaze, with his sleek coat and powerful build, moves like a shadow himself. He's all focus and determination. As he stalks through the undergrowth, his eyes, like two polished pieces of amber, glint in the scattered moonlight. Every muscle in his body is coiled, a spring of potential energy ready to be unleashed. He places each paw with deliberate precision, careful not to make a sound. His movements are a study in controlled power, a hunter in his element. He's not just moving through the jungle. He's a part of it, blending seamlessly with the darkness that surrounds him. But Blaze isn't alone. High above, and then suddenly down below, is Pip. Pip is the complete opposite of Blaze's slow, deliberate grace. He's a tiny spark of life, a bundle of nervous energy and lightning-fast reflexes. He's most alert and impossibly agile. He darts through the underbrush like a flicker of light. His whiskers twitch, sensing every change in the air. His ears swivel, catching the faintest sound. For Pip, this game is a dance on the edge of a knife. He knows that one wrong step, one moment of hesitation, could be the end of the chase. The thrill of it all makes his little heart beat like a drum. The chase is on. The quiet of the jungle is shattered by their playful pursuit. They crash through giant ferns, the leaves parting like a green curtain before them. They swing from thick hanging vines that snake down from the canopy, using them as natural trapezes to launch themselves across gaps in the forest floor. Blaze, with his raw strength, powers through obstacles. Pip, with his nimble agility, zips around them. They tumble over moss-covered rocks, a whirlwind of fur and frantic energy. The jungle, once so still, is now filled with the sound of their game, a chaotic ballet of hunter and hunted. At one point, Blaze spots Pip scrambling up a steep, muddy slope. Seeing his chance, Blaze charges forward, claws digging into the earth for traction. But the rain-slicked mud has other plans. His feet slip out from under him, and he finds himself sliding uncontrollably down the bank. He tumbles end over end, a blur of motion, expecting a hard landing. Instead, he lands with a soft whoosh in a deep hollow at the bottom of the slope. It's filled with a thick bed of dry, soft leaves, collected over months. The leaves cushion his fall perfectly, and a cloud of them puffs up around him, sticking to his fur. High above on a sturdy tree branch, Pip pauses his escape. He peers down at the comical sight of Blaze, half buried in a pile of leaves, looking utterly bewildered. A quiet, squeaky laugh escapes him. He can't resist. Scurries to the end of the branch and starts picking small, ripe berries. With mischievous glee, he begins to toss them down, one by one. Plink! Plonk! The berries bounce harmlessly off Blaze's head. Blaze shakes his head, sending leaves and berry juice flying, a look of pure exasperation on his face. This only makes Pip laugh harder. The game is far from over. Each attempt Blaze makes to catch the elusive Pip seems to turn into a new and more hilarious disaster. Hugh tries to pounce, only to get his legs hopelessly tangled in a web of low-hanging vines, leaving him dangling awkwardly just inches off the ground. He tries a stealthy approach, creeping along a fallen log, but the moss is slick with evening dew. His feet go flying, and he slips, sliding down the length of the log with a comical yelp. Pip, always one step ahead, watches each mishap from a safe distance, his tiny body shaking with silent laughter. But Blaze is nothing if not persistent. Giving up is simply not in his nature. He shakes himself free from the vines, brushes the moss off his coat, and focuses his gaze once more on his tiny tormentor. His pride might be a little bruised, but his spirit is unbroken. The challenge only fuels his determination. He watches Pip, who is now taunting him from a low branch, chattering and flicking his tail. Blaze takes a deep breath, his eyes narrowing. He calculates the distance, the angle, the speed. This time, he thinks, this time, he'll get him. Pip, sensing the shift in Blaze's demeanor, decides to make one final daring move. He zips down from his perch, a flash of movement right in front of Blaze's nose. It's a direct challenge, a final taunt. This is the moment Blaze has been waiting for. All his energy, all his focus, converges into a single, explosive action. He leaps to magnificent, powerful arc through the air, a display of pure athleticism. He soars, claws extended, aimed right at the spot where Pip was just a second ago. But a second is all Pip needs. With a final, cheeky squeak, Pip is gone, having already scrambled up a nearby vine. Blaze, committed to his jump, sails past the empty space. For a glorious moment, he hangs in the air, a perfect silhouette against the moon. And then, gravity takes over. He lands, not on the soft forest floor, but in a small, hidden pond with an enormous splash. Water erupts in all directions, a liquid explosion that shatters the night's silence. The sound echoes through the trees, and it almost seems as if the entire jungle is roaring with laughter. Dripping wet and covered in lily pads, Blaze sits in the middle of the pond, looking utterly defeated. Above him, hanging from a vine and silhouetted against the bright moon, is Pip. He lets out a triumphant, squeaky cheer, the undisputed winner of tonight's game. The chase is over, for now. As Blaze slowly wades out of the water, shaking his head, he can't help but feel a small smile tug at his lips. Tomorrow is another night, and the game will begin again. This nightly dance of theirs is more than just a game. It's a bond, a unique friendship forged in the heart of the wild. It's a story of persistence and cleverness, of power and agility. And as the sounds of the jungle settle back into their nightly rhythm, the two friends disappear back into the shadows, ready to rest until their next adventure. Thanks for joining us on this little journey into the jungle at night. If you enjoyed their story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures. See you next time. 2. As the first rays of dawn pierced through the thick jungle canopy, a symphony of sounds began to fill the air. Birds chirped their morning greetings from high branches, and the gentle rustle of leaves whispered secrets of the waking forest. It was a brand new day, and for Blaze, it meant another chance. He stood by the edge of a crystal-clear stream, shaking his fur vigorously, sending droplets of water flying in every direction. He was dripping, exhausted from the previous day's escapades, but a flicker of unyielding determination danced in his eyes. He wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. Nearby, perched comfortably on a moss-covered log, sat Pip. The tiny creature held a large, juicy berry in his paws, munching on it with an air of undeniable satisfaction. He had won the last round, and he knew it. His bright, intelligent eyes watched Blaze, a playful glint suggesting he was already anticipating the next challenge. The jungle was their playground, and the game was far from over. Blaze took a deep, steadying breath, his muscles tensing. He lowered himself into a crouch, his long tail twitching back and forth in a slow, rhythmic motion. Every fiber of his being was focused on Pip. This would be it, his final attempt to outsmart the little trickster. He crept forward, his paws barely making a sound on the soft, damp earth. He was a shadow moving through the undergrowth, silent and purposeful. He gathered his strength, preparing for the perfect pounce. But Pip was always one step ahead. Just as Blaze was about to spring, Pip let out a high-pitched squeak, a sound that was half giggle, half taunt. With a flash of movement, he slipped into a dark, hollow opening at the base of an ancient tree and vanished completely. Blaze skidded to a halt, peering into the darkness of the hollow, but there was no sign of Pip. Only the echo of that cheeky squeak remained. A long, weary sigh escaped Blaze. He flopped down onto the ground, his energy suddenly drained. He had been so close. He had used all his strength, all his speed, but it wasn't enough. As he sat there, catching his breath, a thought began to form in his mind. He looked around at the towering trees, the tangled vines, the complex web of life that surrounded him. He realized that in this vast and unpredictable jungle, raw power wasn't always the key to success. Sometimes, the jungle favored the quick-witted, the clever, the one who could think their way out of a tight spot rather than fight. He watched the spot where Pip had disappeared, a newfound respect dawning on him. He saw a flicker of movement high above, and there was Pip, scurrying effortlessly along a network of branches, his tiny form a testament to agility and cunning. A slow grin began to spread across Blaze's face. It wasn't a grin of frustration, but one of admiration. He had been so focused on winning that he had almost forgotten to enjoy the game itself. The chase, the challenge, the sheer unpredictability of it. All that was the real prize. Just as he was lost in this new realization, a sudden poke on his tail jolted him back to the present. He whirled around, and there was Pip, popping out from behind a large fern, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "You." Before Blaze could even react, Pip let out another playful squeak and darted off into the dense foliage. In an instant, the weariness vanished, replaced by a fresh surge of adrenaline. The chase was on again. Without a second thought, Blaze sprang to his feet and took off after him. They raced through the jungle, a blur of motion and color. They dodged trees, leaped over fallen logs, and splashed through shallow streams. The sounds of their pursuit, a mix of pounding paws and joyful squeaks, echoed among the ancient trees. Blaze was laughing now, a deep, rumbling sound that came from his chest. Even in what felt like a constant state of defeat, he couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of fun. Oh. He knew he might never catch the clever little creature. He knew Pip would always be just a step ahead, always ready with a new trick or a surprising escape. But that was the beauty of it. The jungle would always be full of surprises, and their game would always be a source of endless joy and adventure. As they disappeared deeper into the green labyrinth, their laughter lingered in the air, a happy reminder that sometimes the journey is far more rewarding than the destination. And in the heart of the wild, a friendship built on fun and games was the greatest victory of all. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow for more adventures.